CCS, the host of Movie Central, and this is a new show called What If. Today's episode is What If Darth Maul Lived Until Return of the Jedi? When the original Star Wars trilogy concluded in 1983, fans begged George Lucas for more stories, and they got their wish with the prequel announcement in 1994. However, the reviews came in less than stellar. But one of the most praised aspects of the first film, The Phantom Menace, which is the worst received of all of the prequels, was Darth Maul, one of the coolest characters in the Star Wars franchise. But what fans didn't appreciate about him was the fact that George Lucas had the intent of killing him off. It wasn't until 2013 and 14 when George Lucas and Dave Filoni brought him back for Star Wars The Clone Wars, where he lasted a lot longer than his big screen counterparts. He then appeared in Star Wars Rebels, where he had a perfect send-off and a perfect death. However, what if Maul had been seen in all three prequels, and the original trilogy as a whole as well? What if he wasn't killed off in Star Wars Rebels and he lasted until Return of the Jedi, still on Sidious's and Vader's side? That means I'm completely retconning the Clone Wars and Rebels to make this video. But this is an alternate timeline of what could have been in the Star Wars lore. Nothing really changes in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, until the last act of the movie, during the Duel of Fates. Here we still have Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan fighting Maul in the palace reactor shaft. Only this time, Maul talks down to Kenobi whilst he's hanging over the pit. "Look at you. You have no weapon to fight with, and your master is dead. What do you plan to do? Just sit there and die like a coward?" We then see Obi-Wan jump into the air, grasp his master's lightsaber, and strike down Maul. Only this time, we could see in a post-credit scene that Maul in fact survived and made it to Palpatine. While we have the two main plots of Anakin and Obi-Wan, we see more of Darth Sidious and Count Dooku in a third side plot on Geonosis. Now we see Maul completely healed with the cybernetics, and we also get to see the relationship between Dooku and Maul. "You killed my apprentice on Naboo years ago. You're still not over that. He was like my brother, my son, and you struck him down and just left him there. You became the apprentice of Sidious alongside me before I ever struck him down. You're just an old dog who has too much Jedi in him." We even get to see a small duel between the two, which would have been awesome, before Obi-Wan is spotted and taken prisoner. Instead of Dooku talking down to Obi-Wan in this scene from the film, we have Maul talking down to Obi-Wan this time around. "I struck down your master Qui-Gon Jinn, while you stood there helplessly. You're more scared than I am. You're scared of me because I defeated you. I'm not scared of you. I'm not afraid of you. I'm merely hungry for revenge." The scene of the arena still plays out the same, but this time Maul and Dooku fight Anakin and Obi-Wan at the same time. Obi-Wan gets cut on the arm and leg by Maul this time, while Anakin gets his hand sliced off by Dooku. Maul then gets onto Dooku's ship and views Yoda fighting Dooku. We get that whole scene. We then see the Master and the two apprentices in their final scene from the film, which is literally the same thing, just with Maul added in it. "You have done well, my apprentices. The Clone Wars have just begun." This is where Attack of the Clones ends, and Revenge of the Sith begins. Maul isn't present a lot in this film in my version, although I decided to add him to the Utapau scene. We see him on the battlefield killing clones and even clashing with Kenobi briefly, before Cody ordered him to be shot down. While Kenobi falls, Maul looks down on his falling foe and realizes that the Jedi are done for. We see Maul again on the Star Destroyer alongside Sidious and Vader, which ends the prequel trilogy. Let's just say now that the Jedi Training Academy show at the Disney parks, the original version, takes place before Episode 4, as Maul and Vader seem to be working together. I'll also add Maul to the Battle of Scarif in Rogue One. And he will escape on a vessel of his own, maybe the Sith Infiltrator from Episode 1. Maul alongside Vader in A New Hope take the whole first scene from the original film in a completely new way. We have two Sith Lords this time around. And this time they both interrogate Captain Antilles. If this is a counselor ship, where is the ambassador? He was a waste of our time, Vader. We must find this princess. Commander, tear this ship apart until you find those plans. And bring me the passenger. I want her alive! Let's also add into the conference room scene and the destruction of Alderaan scene. The final scene, I'll put him in is the finale. He'll be in his Sith Infiltrator and helping Darth Vader and the Empire take down rebel ships until the Falcon arrives and shoots down the TIE fighters and Vader himself. Vader makes it out alive, just like he did in the film, and gets rescued by Maul aboard the Sith Infiltrator. Maul will be in significantly less scenes in The Empire Strikes Back, because I think adding him in would be a little too bulky in an already bulky film. I'll add him simply to the Bespin chase scenes, and we'll see him depart with Vader after the epic duel. I might add Maul into more scenes than the previous films, because this is his dark final arc in this alternate universe. He'll be in the opening alongside Vader, and he'll also be there to greet the Emperor. I'm also adding a new scene where he and Luke can clash on Endor, just to add a little more lightsaber action into the film. I'm also going to add him to the scene where Vader is talking to Luke, which is after the duel between Luke and Maul captures him. I'll have him completely silent for most of his time in this film, just to make him a little more intimidating, as this is his last appearance in my alternate Star Wars timeline. And then we get to the final lightsaber duel between Luke and Vader. This time, Maul takes part in the action, showcasing his double-bladed lightsaber skills to Luke. We'll also see him taunting Luke as well as Vader. Your master, Obi-Wan Kenobi, was worthless. I struck down his master and made him weaker than he already was. Obi-Wan was not weak. You are the weak one. You've been injured in no way anybody would have survived. You think you're strong? You don't even know what strong is anymore. Luke, Vader, and Maul all clash with each other before Luke stabs Maul through the chest. Then the rest of the scene goes the same. And then we see Maul's final scene as Luke tries to save him and bring him back to the Ewok village. The Empire is finally dead. Their legacy is over, which makes my life useless. As you said before, Chosen One, I am weak. I always was. His eyes roll to the back of his head as his eyelids close, and Darth Maul is gone. The rest of the movie goes the same way, only Luke burns both Vader and Maul's bodies on Endor. Then we see the Jedi all together, which closes out the original 6 films. So that was it. I worked very hard to make this alternate Star Wars universe play out. If you enjoyed the video, please consider supporting the channel by liking this video, sharing, and subscribing. Ring the bell to get notifications every time I upload. That's it for me. See you guys next week for the next review. Peace out, guys.